Hello and welcome to the Perth Blue Baggers pod. My name is Louis, your host.
And I'm Marty on special comments.
So today we'll be doing a round 3 preview for our clash with the Melbourne Demons. So essentially we'll go through a bit of what we should expect from that match, a little bit of analysis on Melbourne, and then we'll also be going through injury news, and then based off that, our ins and outs for the match, and then predictions finally. So let's get straight into it. Let's analyse the game ahead. Let's preview it.
Well, I think this is a big game for both clubs. Certainly, both clubs are 1-1.
Yep.
And I think there's some green. We talked about that last time. We are 1-1, so that's actually much better than 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an opportunity to recalibrate because we know that there was a big fade out in second half last time, and we know that we need to fight to work on that. But there was a long break, so hopefully they've just been stuck into this during the sessions, etc. This wasn't an issue in the preces. A lot of people are saying it's mental. That's really hard to know from the outside for sure. There's been a couple of hints from the player group.
Yeah.
What worries me there is that you might focus on that too much, and until you get that monkey off your back, it just sort of sits there,
I feel like it's something that could be improved on if they win some closer games,
Particularly if they have some solid second halves.
Yes.
Close ones. So they won a close one on last game.
Yeah.
But they won it fading out in the second half. So I think that what they've really got a point to prove. So
Yeah, for sure.
I think the other thing you want to be careful though is if you're focusing too much on the second half, you need that fast start. And so I think the fast start has kind of really saved us this time.
Yeah.
Against the Tigers. So getting fast start against the D's. The Dockers got a really good fast start against the D's last game.
Mm-hmm.
So the Demons they've won 1-1, lost one. They had a good win against the Saints in Melbourne, and they lost poorly against the Dockers. Really, in fact, I think the margin for them could have been much worse. They were comprehensively outplayed. So I think there's an opportunity there. They've got a much younger team, the D's. Oliver and Petrarca are gone. Petrarca in particular, I think, is a big loss.
For sure.
And so they're going with the younger brigade now. They've still got guys that can hurt you, and Jack Steele was pretty good against the D's. Max Gorn's always competitive.
Yeah.
Still got a bit of firepower up forward with Pickett and Fritz and the like,
Yeah.
So they're not to be taken lightly,
And,
but they are in a rebuilding phase.
Yeah. Their premier forward is, or youngish, is Jacob von Ruyen.
Well, he was very good against the Saints, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Really good.
So that's another person that we'll have to match up against.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot to digest there. This one's I think it's a real test for both clubs because I think they're both probably not expected by a lot of outsiders to make the 8. Let's face it.
10. Yeah.
Or the 10 as they now say, right? But they both want to be competitive, and see if you lose a lot of early games, you kind of lose a year.
Yeah.
You slip back into let's play the kids and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Winning early games makes a big difference. Certainly for Voss, he needs early wins. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone knows he's out of contract at the end of the year. So this is we're coming into a really interesting stretch here. For the next couple of games, we should be winning these games.
Yeah.
And in the event that we won the next 2 games, which are both winnable, we end up at 3-1.
Looks good. Yeah.
So I see an opportunity here where we're going to come to the ins and outs. We were complaining about the length of the injury list at the start of the season.
Yeah.
It does look a little bit better. Of course, those guys coming in, they're still going to need a couple of games. You don't always come back in and play your best footy straight away, and some of these guys have a bit of time out. So I think there's a bit of that'll be a really interesting one to watch. Our actually injury list is quite short.
Yeah. Well,
it's the shortest I've seen it for a long, long time. We've got 2 people definitely who are unable to play football at the moment, Farrell and Motlop.
Yeah.
Now, we for long periods of time. Actually, and everyone else is either coming back via the VFL or a test.
Yes.
So actually, I mean, that's pretty good. Now, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but in the event that everyone was fit, I think there's actually 4 or 5 potential changes there.
Exactly. So, very well analysed. Now that's a good segue into the injury news. So essentially, Adam Saad's available for selection this week. It's been confirmed by the club. Not a test. I wouldn't say straight back in, but
He'll probably play.
Let's
face it.
They like to pick him, and I think I'd put him in as an in. No, yes, I have. Anyway, but Cottrell and Wilson are available to return the VFL game on Sunday, so they won't feature. That's confirmed by the club. They won't feature this Sunday in the AFL game, but they will in the VFL game. So that's good for their match fitness. And then there's only two little ifs. I imagine that they'd be going through their fitness tests right through to Friday. Friday's training session before the team gets selected. So that's in Chera, who's recovering from a hamstring injury. He's fully training at the moment. Test. Francis Evans with his knee, it was like a little knee jarring, I think, sort of thing. And then that he suffered in one of the preseason matches. So he's in full training and is a test as well. So a little bit to play out, but we're probably going to be a guessing man on that. Normally when they're on a test, they seem to make it through. General rule of thumb.
General rule of thumb. The one thing about Chera, though, I would be on the conservative side with Chera.
Yeah.
A lot of his hamstrings have been a problem, and there's been a few question marks about him coming back in. Was he cherry ripe, etc. Because he was in and out of the team all season last season.
Yeah, I also have the same viewpoint there.
Yeah, so we're a bit nervous about him. I reckon I'd be on the side of caution if there's any doubt at all.
Yeah.
But, if he's 100%, he goes. And he does add value.
Yeah.
Really does. So if he's fit, he comes in.
For sure. Okay, so if Chera's available, then you reckon he'll come in. I reckon, similar to your earlier thoughts, that he might need another week to sort of rejuvenate. Okay, well, let's go into ins and outs then.
Well, I think Haynes, we know we haven't mentioned him much, but he played in the VFL last week. He seems to have come through unscathed.
Yeah.
Haynes, I've got no doubt if he's fully fit, from what we saw last year, he's in our best 22.
Yeah.
So he should play.
Agreed.
So he's an obvious in, probably for Lewis Young, and would be the natural swap for mine, and that's just based on form we've seen the first few rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be squeezing out McGovern at the moment, would you?
He might play forward.
You're definitely not dropping Harry Dean. He's shown a lot of fight and passion. So and only so many tools you need down back. I think Saad will play if he's, not if he's, we know he's fit, so he'll play. Evans for Fogarty is a natural swap for me.
Agreed.
We need that spark up forward, which I think Evans provides.
Yeah.
Frank the Tank. There's a lot of excitement around the traps for Frank the Tank. The way he finished off the season last season, it's a very Colton thing. I don't think anyone outside of Colton's talking much about him. But for Blues fans, we were very excited with what we saw at the end of last season. So he's very popular. The other guy, if he's 100% fit, that should play is Newman.
Yeah.
Nick Newman is a very reliable defender. And that bit of extra experience, we lost a bit of experience this year with Jack Savani, etc. going. Mm-hmm. Nick Newman should play if he's 100% fit, in my view.
There's a lot to know. I've put him down as giving him another week. He hasn't had a week in the VFL yet either because of his suspension. So,
Didn't he play? He played at least a practice match, was it? Before he got, that's where he got suspended.
The VFL practice match.
Yeah, so he's played at least one match recently. He was only suspended, not injured. Yeah. I think we probably need, if you look at how we're exposed with the number of shots on goal that they had, Richmond last week, they're a young team, inexperienced team. I think we need a bit more experience down back.
Yeah, and he's a good leader down back. He instructs players. He has this real presence about him. Is also a good lockdown small defender.
Yeah,
I
he's
think,
kind of that sort of medium.
but he's also
He's
a good
not tall.
rebounder too.
Yeah, he sets things up. He's
Yeah.
a good user of the footy. So I think I'd like to see him back in. So I think there's a fair few players to come in. Certainly, I think probably the other guy hasn't been great this season so far is Cowan.
Yeah.
I mean, I still see Cowan as very much in our long-term plans. And
Of course, yeah.
I'm not averse though. You give a guy a spell when you bring him back in. You can find that extra bit of form in the twos. I think sometimes last year in particular with guys like Blake Acres, etc., we just kept them in the ones too much.
Yeah.
There's no problem if they playing the Magoos and they come back.
Yeah.
That's what we should do more of, I think.
Yeah, I've got Cowan making way for Sard, so he can come in there. Yeah, so that's all we have to cover for the ins and outs, right? Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's for mine. Even though, like I said, we've got a few ins. I mean, there's 3 to 4 ins.
Yeah.
And that means 3 to 4 outs. So
there could be more, there could be less. Who knows?
I do think, like I said, there should be room for. I mean, Chira's 100% fit. He plays.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be as many as 5. I don't know if we'll make that many changes.
It's up to judgment for those within that would know more about the
that's
situation of these players than us. So, but these are purely what we would do.
And they're based on whether they're 100%
predictions,
fit.
yeah.
Like I said, I would be very cautious with Chera. I'd only play him if you're 100% sure.
Yeah. Good job. Okay. So, predictions. Margin and who's going to be best on ground?
Well, I think... I reckon it's probably time for some of our newbies to shine.
Yeah.
So I like to see either Hayward or Ainsworth really step up.
That would be good to see, yeah.
And make an impact. Not that we haven't seen anything. It's a beautiful goal from Hayward. He just kicked it with the outside of the boot and sort of. He's we know he's got a lot of talent. He's probably the guy came in with probably the best expectations.
Yeah.
Coming in of the trades, so let's hope he has a big one. I think Ollie Florent's been pretty good for us.
Yeah.
And I think these guys, they've spent less time in the system. So I think they keep on building here. The other guy, we've already built up so much expectations around him in such a short time. But I just think Jack is on a tear. He was brilliant last time. And why wouldn't he keep up the good work? I think it's ready for another big one.
Yeah, and I'd like to see it, Matt Carroll for me. I think he's given a bit more of a wing role lately, so to utilise his kick better. I think that's a wise move. The problem with Ainsworth is that he was utilised as a midfielder for pretty much the whole game. If you look at his heat map, he's pretty much centred right in the middle of the field, which is...
That means an odd one, right?
They always do that.
This is a guy who's kicked 4 goals in a pre-season match for
Yeah.
us. Like, the guy can kick goals and he's a goal kicker. I think we probably play some of our forwards too much midfield.
I think rotate Zach Williams through there
Yeah.
is a better option because, first of all, he's had a bit of experience as a midfielder. He was kind of originally like that in GWS, and then we moved him down back, and then he had a little stint at forward. Then he's supposedly down back again. But if you want to give someone a role, I reckon he is a good fit. And obviously I'd like to see the recruits do well too.
Yeah.
And Walsh to continue on his form.
Walsh was, I think I had him as BOG twice.
Yes, same.
So, doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah. And Cripper
bounced back and had a great game last game.
Yes, just fix up that goal kicking and
let's
really
see him
shut Kane up.
Snag a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut Kane up, please.
Look, just another thing to mention. A shout out to a guy who probably needed to step up this year of all the years and has, and that's big fella Pitnet.
Yeah.
Right? Big test for him against what a guy's still one of the best ruckmen in the game. So he's been great, but Nankervis is on a completely different level to Gorn.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, he was good against Grundy. Grundy's a bloody
Yeah.
good ruckman. So he'll have another test this time. And he's the only named ruckman in the team, really. The others are just,
Would you combat?
mentioning.
No, there's a little discussion before it ends out. Would you combat Gorn with 2 rocks, maybe?
The thing
I
about
don't know.
it's Reedy was you do have an option because you got 5 on the bench this time.
Yeah.
With the 5 on the bench, I think a lot of clubs are considering that second ruckman. What I was a bit worried about was Reedy. Reedy had a great preseason game, but then he's one against Sydney. He was really poor.
Yeah.
I think he had 4 touches
Something
from
like
memory.
that. Yeah.
You need more out of any player on the ground than that.
Yeah.
So the question I say is, if you're going to give a guy a crack, he really needs to carry his weight. So you can't just pick a guy because he's the second ruckman. He's got to give you something.
And they'll probably keep Hudson O'Keefe in the side anyway, so it probably solves
Well,
that issue.
Hudson O'Keefe can certainly be the second ruck, and
Yeah.
I think his future is as a ruck forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys do that role. Even TDK did that role at times. So if he can do a bit of both, that would be helpful.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our analysis of the match again, the upcoming clash with Melbourne. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to leave any of your thoughts in the comments. And I think Spotify also has comments, so you can do that there too. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. So prediction. Oh, we didn't do a margin.
I'm going to be bold.
Okay.
Blues by 26.
Oh, that's not bad. Problem is with these Melbourne games, they're always close. So I got us again in a thriller. But this time, rather than the second half fade out, we actually come from behind to win this one.
Oh, that's an
Give a bit
interesting
of
take.
confidence.
That's an interesting take. I reckon we can turn that around. It only needs a couple of games where we have big second halves.
Yeah.
We can turn it. I've got no doubt about fitness. For me, it's not about fitness.
Yeah.
It may be about structure.
Yes.
We've got to look at that. When a team gets a run on us, what are we doing differently? You've got to have some match day plans for these sorts of things. Getting numbers back is crucial. Not getting sucked into the contest so that winning on the outside as well as on the inside.
Exactly.
These sorts of things. They've been talked about a lot. We get that structure right. Get the head above the shoulders going. I think there's a lot of could be good.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Up the Baggers.
Go on the Blues.